Don't just stand there, hit her back. The voices blurred. The gym echoed with laughter, phones recording, eyes hungry for humiliation. Blood dripped from her lip, warm against her trembling hand. They thought she was weak, a quiet new girl who'd take it and stay silent. But beneath that silence was something they couldn't see: discipline, power, and a past forged in pain. They didn't know who they'd just awakened. This isn't a story of revenge, it's revelation. This is the day silence fought back. Comment your city below if you're watching this story. It was her third school in 2 years. New uniforms, new faces, same whispers. Amara walked through the hallways of Ridgeview High with her head slightly lowered, her steps careful, deliberate, as if she didn't want to leave a trace. She'd learned that being invisible was safer. People stared anyway. The color of her skin, the quietness in her eyes, it made her an easy target for curiosity, for judgment, for cruelty. She wasn't always like this. Once, she was loud with laughter, the kind of girl who won tournaments and smiled for cameras. But after the tragedy, the one that took her father and shattered her confidence, the medals went into a box, and Amara went silent. Moving here was supposed to be a fresh start, a chance to disappear from the noise of her past. In class, she sat near the window, sketching between lessons, always alert but never involved. She noticed everything: who ruled the hallways, who stayed invisible like her, who got punished for standing out. The social hierarchy was brutal, and for someone like her, it was best to remain unnoticed. But Ridgeview had its bullies, the kind who fed on silence. They saw her quietness not as strength, but as weakness. To them, she was just the new black girl, a stranger to mock, to test, to break. She could feel it coming. The stares lingered too long, and the laughter stopped when she walked by. She'd felt this energy before, the moment before cruelty makes its move. Still, Amara told herself she could handle it. She'd faced worse. She'd survived worse. All she had to do was keep her head down. But sometimes silence isn't safe. Sometimes it's the calm before the storm. It started small, the kind of small that people ignore. A misplaced chair, a whispered insult, a giggle that wasn't quite innocent. Amara felt it all but said nothing. In gym class, her locker was accidentally left open, her sneakers tossed into the trash. During lunch, her seat mysteriously disappeared, forcing her to stand while others smirked. The ringleader, Madison, captain of the cheer team, made sure every humiliation looked like an accident. To the teachers, it was just teenage drama. To Amara, it was a familiar war, one she'd fought before. Every insult clawed at the edges of her self-control. Not because she couldn't fight back, but because she knew what would happen if she did. The last time she'd lost control, a boy twice her size had left the dojo on a stretcher. That was the day her father told her, "Real strength is knowing when not to use it." But that lesson was harder to remember now. By the second week, the bullying had escalated. They tripped her in the hallways, posted photos of her shoes with captions like "charity case." When she passed, Madison would fake a cough and whisper the N-word under her breath, soft enough to deny, loud enough to wound. Amara's silence became their sport. One afternoon, during gym, the class was told to pair up for sparring drills, basic self-defense routines. Madison grinned. "I'll take Amara," she said. Everyone laughed. The coach nodded, oblivious. At first, it was harmless. A few light pushes, a fake stumble. But then Madison decided to make a show of it. She lunged, knee first, aiming to embarrass Amara in front of everyone. The impact caught Amara square in the face. A sickening thud echoed through the gym. Gasps filled the air, blood, warm and metallic. It trickled down her lip. Madison laughed. "Oops, guess you should have blocked that?" The room froze. For the first time in months, Amara looked up, really looked up. Her eyes locked on Madison's, steady, unblinking. That quietness that once seemed weak now felt terrifying. There was something in her gaze that made even Madison step back, because in that moment, Amara wasn't the quiet new girl anymore. She was the fighter her father trained, the one who could read movement, predict strikes, and end fights before they began. Her instincts screamed to react, to show them what silence had been hiding. But she didn't move. Not yet. The coach rushed over, asking if she was okay. Amara nodded, pressing a towel to her lip. The rest of the class watched. Some guilty, some thrilled, none understanding what they'd just awakened. As she sat on the bench, blood drying on her hands, she thought of her father's words again. Real strength is knowing when not to use it. But as she looked around that gym, at the laughter, the cruelty, the indifference, she realized something else. Sometimes silence isn't strength. Sometimes it's surrender, and Amara was done surrendering. The next day, whispers followed her like shadows. "Did you see her face? She cried. She won't come back. They were wrong." Amara walked into the gym again, head high, eyes calm, a faint bruise marking her cheek like a reminder, not a scar. The coach announced partner drills once more, and before he could assign names, Amara spoke. "I'll take Madison." The room went silent. Madison smirked, trying to hide the flicker of uncertainty behind her grin. As they squared off, Amara's movements were precise and controlled, every step measured. Madison swung wildly, trying to regain her dominance, but Amara sidestepped with ease, letting the cheerleader's aggression burn itself out. The crowd began to notice. This wasn't luck. This was mastery. Then Madison lunged again, knee raised, the same move, the same arrogance. But this time, Amara moved first. A shift of weight, a sweep of her leg. Madison hit the mat with a thud that silenced the room. Amara didn't strike back. She didn't need to. Her stance, her control, it spoke louder than any revenge ever could. The coach's mouth hung open. Students exchanged looks, unsure whether to clap or stay quiet. Amara offered Madison a hand, not as a gesture of kindness, but of dignity. Madison hesitated, then took it. And for the first time, the room saw Amara not as a victim, not as the new black girl, but as power contained and unshakable. Dear audience, where are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. That afternoon changed everything, not just for Amara, but for the school. Word spread faster than any rumor Madison had ever started. The quiet new girl who everyone mocked had faced her bully and stood taller without throwing a single cruel word in return. The same students who once laughed now avoided meeting her eyes, not out of fear, but respect. Madison kept her distance after that. She wasn't suspended, she wasn't punished by the school, but something far deeper shifted inside her. The following week, she approached Amara after class, mumbling an apology no one expected to hear. Amara simply nodded. She didn't need revenge. What she needed, what she earned, was peace, and for the first time in months, she unpacked her old medals. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. Real strength is knowing when not to use it. She finally understood what he meant. Amara's story wasn't about a fight. It was about dignity, about standing tall when the world expects you to bow, about proving that power doesn't come from anger, but from restraint. Racism didn't end that day. The whispers didn't disappear overnight. But in that one gym, one story changed how people looked at silence and at strength, because sometimes the most potent strike is choosing not to strike at all. How many more will it take before the world learns the same lesson? Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more true, powerful stories every week.